Hey guys, and welcome to part 13 of What If the Governor Met Negan the Remake. Now, in the last episode, we covered Daryl being used as leverage by the governor, just like his long-departed brother Merle, and that the fact that Rick and Michonne came to the Negan's sanctuary, and the governor and Negan confronted Rick and Michonne. The governor revealed that Beth and everybody else was captured by the militia and the tank, those guys, and the fact that Rick and Michonne are all alone and destined to die with Daryl as torture for the governor's revenge. But Rick still smiles because he says right out when the governor questions this, he knows something that Negan and all the other saviors don't. What really happened with the governor and their history. The governor, anxious to shut Rick up, knowing that he knows what he did, all the stuff, pulls out his weapon and aims to kill. But Negan stops him because this perks his interest. Does this mean that the governor's been lying to him this whole time? And we all know how Negan doesn't like a false story or someone who's dishonorable. Just look at Spencer. But then he tells Rick that if this is some kind of trick or trap of some sorts, he'll Lucille him right here and now. But Rick just smiles, saying that he has no interest in any conflict with the Saviors. Not yet, at least. They haven't done too much to pose as a threat to their group. But he'll get to that later. But he's more than glad to tell Negan what really happened between their history and the governor's. Now, he goes on to say that Rick and everybody else, they had a different system back whenever the governor was still around them. They had a prison. Much more people. His wife was one of them, although she was lost to different circumstances. But the governor, he was the main cause for most of his people's death and just a lot of conflict, and he was just a very, very, very big menace at the time. Not as much now, but definitely back then. He then goes on to say about many, if not all, the things that the governor did to them. Glenn being tortured and almost killed, and Maggie being assaulted and violated pretty much, which definitely perks up Negan's attention, because we all know how he didn't like rape and all that stuff, especially with David. And the fact that he did both those things just to know where the prison was. How he was responsible for the death of pretty much his own little Lieutenant Milton and the death of their friend Andrea, one of the first people that Rick came into contact with in Atlanta when he got out of the hospital. But that, he then says that's another story. He was also responsible for the death of Daryl's brother Merle, even though he wasn't like the greatest of guys, but still noticeable enough to Daryl's side. And the fact that after he tried to wage a second war on them, after he had already fought them, he gunned down all of his own people. And the ones that survived, Rick and their people took them in. And the governor burned down his own hometown. And just, that's it. The governor at this point is holding back every ounce of fury and malice. There is pure, just rage in his eyes. Everything is holding him back from shooting Rick and just Michonne and everybody in the area right now. Crazy governor, he's coming back, but being with Negan and serving him this long is definitely helping to restrain this. After Rick's story is done, Negan looks at him seriously, trying to detect any kind of trick or, trap of some sorts in the words of Rick Grimes, and asks if this is all really true. Rick says that he would never, ever lie about something like this. True, he used to be a cop. He'd tell stories, he'd deal with a lot of instances, but this? Oh, from what the governor did to him and their group in the past, he would never lie about something like this. And he means that with the sincerity of his word. And he then goes on to say that he meant also that he was only here for the governor. Michonne too. And they just want Daryl back. And if all is just done with him, Michonne, Daryl, them getting their own back on the governor, he is more than willing to make peace with the Saviors, or at least start peace. Nothing has to happen, because he knows the people on the road that Daryl killed and the ones before Daryl killed them, kind of on them, but he will make peace. Negan thinks this up for a moment, grabs a walkie, and calls to the militia and the tank people to release Rick's people, Beth, all them, and give them back their weapons. So, they have a deal. But Negan says that he wants to be in part, if not all part, of dealing with the governor. Because he took him in. He is the one who saved him. This person, this sick abomination, violating people, pretty much raping Maggie, torturing them. And here Negan felt all bad for him, and also complimented him on the one eye, the beard, and it was all because of what a ruthless, sick person he was. Negan's never heard a story like this before in his life. And from how fooled he was, made to look like an idiot for this one-eyed guy? Oh, he's going to take all pleasure in Lucilleing him to the frigging ground. That is how angry Negan is right now, and says that he will honor Rick's deal. They can have peace. He might not even take half of their stuff. But the governor, he wants to have part of the kill. Lucille, he wants to make sure that Lucille has some fun with the governor. And even ask the governor, before he does the job, if he knows who he is, to try and test him, to see if maybe the governor still has loyalty to Negan. If this is all just a play before he actually does the job. Maybe this is not true. This is a final test coming from Negan. But the governor isn't listening to Negan. His eyes, his whole composure, everything about him is stone cold. And then he turns to Negan with a look that scares Negan. And this would be a very big shock. The governor then says he never cared about Negan. And he truly never cared about the sanctuary. All he ever cared about originally was dying. But now that Rick and Michonne here, they are all expendable. And the sanctuary, it's his. And then he fires his weapon all across the grounds of the sanctuary from the outside, from where they are, and shoots also at Negan, Rick, and Michonne. So he's shooting all around the place. He's not thinking of killing them yet. He wants this kill. He had been planning to kill Negan all along, because that's what happened in my first outing. But now that Rick and Michonne here, Governor's planning on killing all three of them, especially after Rick sold him out. The governor has nothing to lose. It's all or nothing. After he shoots all around, Rick and Michonne and Negan all scramble to dodge the bullets. The governor catches Rick off guard and attacks him like he did in Season 4, with it being far more on the governor's vantage point since Rick didn't get the chance to get the upper hand. Speaking of upper hand, the governor pulls a Brian Blake and slices off Rick's hand. Not only would this fit for the governor returning in this form of events, but it would also fit for what's happened just now and how much of a surprise it would be. Rick wouldn't be able to counter this, and the governor is far more ruthless because of the torture chambers, and especially the fact that he's been sold out and begins to gain the upper hand, slowly but surely about to kill Rick. But Michonne rushes forward, gaining her composure, and tries to slice the governor. But remember, the governor has a sword too. So do you know what that means? We get a sword fight. Yeah, that's right. We never saw anything like this in The Walking Dead. The closest we got to a sword duel was Merle and Michonne with Merle's little knife hand, and that was just so Merle could knock away Michonne's sword. We didn't get a fight out of that, which, to be honest, I didn't expect we'd get too much of one anyway, because knife hand. But it would be an awesome sequence nonetheless for the governor and Michonne, two bitter enemies, to have a sword duel. But Negan catches the governor by surprise while he's in the middle of doing this and Lucille's him straight in the side, like the side of his body, pretty much, while he's sword dueling Michonne. He just, BAM! Hits the governor's side with Lucille. And this would hurt, causing an injury, if not scratches of blood on his side. Because remember, barbed wire, it would be sure that he would get blood on him. But this doesn't really hurt the governor in the way you would expect. It just pretty much angers him. Michonne then rushes forward to attack again, and this spurs more of a sword duel. But because of Michonne's kind of exhaustion, because the sword duel would be for a minute, and the fact that the governor just got Lucille in the side, this battle is even paced just like it was 5 seconds ago. It's just, it would be a very, very heated moment. And then Negan tries to go for Lucilleing him again, this time aiming for the head. Best yet, his other eye, because Negan was like, if anybody moved at the lineup, cut Carl's other eye out. So we could see that little thing playing out here. The governor is ready for Negan this time, though, and holding his sword in one hand fighting Michonne, he pulls out a knife with his other and blocks Lucille. But before he can fight them both head on, he is shot straight in the side of his chest by Rick, who is still alive but badly injured. Because you gotta think, all of this happening, he is now one hand and very injured. This would be a very beat up Rick. But we also have to think of a few things. For number one, we can think that the governor would be so hungry with revenge, especially after Rick selling him out, that he would be, this would be the darkest governor we would ever see in any kind of story I've made, or anything. He would be highly underestimating Rick, and wouldn't expect him to come up after this. So, he just ignores Michonne and Negan, and just goes to finish the job. But they're not, Michonne and Negan are taking a front at the moment, because they didn't expect Rick to get up. Everything happened so fast. This is all in the matter of not even a few minutes, mind you. The governor tries to finish the job, but Michonne catches him unawares, stabbing him straight through the chest, just like she did originally. Now, you would think that this would end the governor, but the governor has practiced with the torture chambers and everything. He's a much different governor. He's much more resilient. So, this doesn't kill him, even though he was just shot in the chest and Lucille in the side, but it does. He's much more alive than he was when he got stabbed originally. Let's just leave it at that. Negan then comes over, ready to actually do the job now, considering the governor has presented the opportunity for Negan to actually Lucille him properly, and asks if he has any final words. But the governor says he just has one. Now! And just at that moment, from inside the sanctuary, from the governor and the Croats' torture chamber basement, a drone pops out. Now, this is very, very underwhelming. What could this little drone do? Did the Croat also have a backup plan in case things went like this? Is the governor's last plan a bluff, meaning that he really is just done for? Or do you think that this drone packs more than what we think? And that's where we leave things for the moment. Hope you guys truly enjoyed this episode. A little underwhelming at parts, tried to sum it up the best I could. I know I'd get kind of caught up in that sometimes, but I hope you guys enjoyed the part nonetheless, especially with all the conflict in this one. Rick selling out the governor was probably the headway to this episode. And the governor ambushing, well, not really ambushing, but just confronting Negan, Michonne, and Rick all at once. Definitely a battle that I did not expect to ever make, but kind of a little page out of What If the Governor Went to Terminus. But we got plenty more tension to come for the last few parts of this episode coming up. Like and subscribe, comment, I'll see you guys next time.
You know, like, isn't that right?